Hello everybody, welcome to the DMF. I am Justin Yachts. I am your narrator, your recorder, your voice, as we talk about health, film, television, professional wrestling, positive affirmations, all kinds of things. But I'd like to start off today in the health area. And let's talk about affirmations. Now, I believe affirmations are probably the most important thing you can do in starting your day. Starting your day with positivity is one of the best things you can do as a person. You wake up, usually you go down, you get breakfast, you do this. I'm challenging you to stop and think about your day. Think about your day. And I want you to come up with affirmations. I am statements that you want to believe and hear throughout your whole day. Because this will carry you throughout your day. This bookends the day. From the beginning of the day to the end of the day. It's wonderful. I do them every day. I do meditation as well, and I want to talk about meditation as well, but today I just want to really focus on affirmations. I mean, why do we say them? Most of us don't realize that when we're watching commercials, when we're watching TV, when we're reading magazines, we are slowly being fed subliminal messaging saying, you need this, you need to buy this, this is what you need. You can't live without it. You need it. I want you to stop and realize that you don't need that. Yeah, I mean, those things are good. I'm not saying don't buy things, because I, for one, buy things all the time. But really think about what you're actually buying. Is that what you want? Are you buying it because you need it? Or are you buying it because it's the drug of buying it? See, a lot of us are kind of hooked on buying things, hooked on getting affirmation from outside sources, either a girlfriend or a boyfriend or husband or wife or children or television or reading something or buying something. And I'm here to tell you, you don't need any of that. What you need is to have it come from within. If it comes from within, all that stuff is icing on the cake. You don't need somebody to make you feel better, to tell you that it'll come from within. True happiness comes from within. Now, some people can go from religion, meditation, but it's got to come from within. You got to be happy all the time and find that happiness in you. And you can't buy it. You gotta, and one of the best ways to get there is with affirmations. Positive affirmations. Now, you can do this many ways. This could be the first thing you say as you wake up. You could listen to a recording of yourself saying the affirmations and listening to it. You could make a little video with the affirmations there, with pictures. Some people call that a mind movie. And we are going to talk about mind movies, but not in this episode. Not in depth. But I want to throw that out there. You could put sticky notes on your mirror or on the wall that say them and read them out loud to remind you. You could say them to yourself softly. You can listen to hearing them. There are many ways to do it. You could also even train yourself to become synchronized with a song by saying affirmations with a song. What these do, though, is kind of counteract the subliminal messaging that you will hear in the world by saying the things that you want to hear. Most people are focused on what they don't want. I'm saying be focused on what you do want. What you do want is what you should be focused on. And this is hard stuff to do because we are surrounded by everything telling us we're not good enough, and we're not this, and you got Instagram, you got social media, you got everything trying to tell you, and I'm here to tell you that you are enough. Be you. Be yourself. And let that come from you. And you can start with it with the affirmations by just saying, I am happy. I am good. I am talented. Whatever your words you need to hear, those are the words you can put down. One of the things I like to do is I tape record myself saying them, and I'll listen to that. And I also do the mind movie. There's many things to do. But I think affirmations is one of the most important things you can do as a human being. Sorry about that. I am. It all starts with I am. What do you believe you are? I can't help this enough, but hearing these things are good. This is the subliminal messaging you should be getting. As you watch a commercial, they say something here. They've got this music. It's all designed to go past your focused mind and go to the subconscious. And you don't even realize you're listening to it. And we all do it. And that's why affirmations is the best thing to counteract what is going on. Affirmations. Just start with an I am. It can be anything. Some people also say I am, then you are, and then you would say your name is. You could do that. And I've done that as well. Just start with that. These should be the first thing you hear and the last thing you hear. These will help you. And I think we need help right now. We need all our bases in one. We need to be really focused on what it is we want, as opposed to what we don't want. Because if we focus on what we don't want, all we're doing is making what we don't want come to us. If we focus on what we do want, that's how that comes to us. It's the law of attraction. The law of attraction says that what you focus on is what you will get. People don't even realize this. Because most people were programmed to doubt ourselves, criticize ourselves, but each time we're criticizing ourselves, we're taking ourselves away from what we really want. We need to focus on what we really want instead of what we don't want. Who wants to focus on what they don't want? That just leads to worry. Worry doesn't do anything. All worry does is give you stress, upset you. Nothing good has ever come from worrying. Just doesn't. You're going to have a much better vision if you're in a happy place. Now, I'm not trying to say be Pollyanna, but be happy with yourself and how you are today. Be happy with who you are. That's all I'm saying. And this is what I want to talk to you about affirmations. And next week, I'm going to talk a little bit about meditation. But affirmations, let's start with that. Affirmations is the number one thing you can do when you wake up and when you go to bed. Because you're affirming who you are and what you are. And hopefully you can carry that through the rest of your day. That's all I have today on health. Thank you for listening. And we will now move on to film after this. Okay, I want to talk about Joker. 2019. Todd Phillips. Who would have thought? Who would have thought that the director of The Hangover, and Old School, and Road Trip would give us one of the greatest films of 2019? He gave us probably one of the greatest performances we've seen in a superhero film, even though it's not really a superhero film. Joker is more of a throwback to Taxi Driver and The Warriors and The French Connection and films like that. I'm still amazed that this film happened. I mean, when I heard about it coming out, I was like, is this too good to be true? Joaquin Phoenix as the Joker? Because he has turned down many comic book films. And here comes him playing Joker, which is just amazing. Like, a lot of people wanted to see him play Doctor Strange. And he really didn't want a lot to do with the comic book films. And here he is, he does Joker. And not only does he probably give one of his best performances ever, he wins an Oscar for it. Showing that once again, Joker is pretty much this generation's Hamlet. Because it's been reinvented so many times. Some bad, some good. We have the Heath Ledger version. We now have Joaquin Phoenix's version. We have Jared Leto's version, which I enjoyed, but a lot of people didn't like. And then we have Jack Nicholson's version. And then you could go back to the 60s, but Mark Hamill, he did a great Joker as well. But all that aside, let's talk about how this film came to be about. Apparently he was doing press for War Dogs, and he saw a billboard for, I think it was Suicide Squad. And he said, wouldn't it be great to take one of those characters and do a film like Taxi Driver? And he looked at superheroes as a gateway to throwback films that you can't make anymore. And he had to fight to get this movie made. Can you imagine? I mean, an R-rated superhero film with Joker in it. I mean, my biggest fear was it was going to be PG-13. I'm like, this movie cannot be PG-13. And he fought for it to be what it is. And it ended up just being amazing. Such a throwback to, I don't know if I want to say the early 70s, because when I think the early 70s, I think of, A Clockwork Orange. But, what was it, 1976, around that area. Just, what a great film. Because this film took a lot of stuff from The Killing Joke, where Joker is a failed comedian. And they took hints of that, and then we mixed in a little bit of Taxi Driver in there. And it just, oh, what a masterpiece of a film. I mean, the look of it, just, I'm amazed. I still am amazed this got made. I'm sorry, it astounds me. It's like when I saw The Dark Knight. I didn't think that could get made. I was like, how did they get this so right? And it's such an interesting interpretation of the Joker. I mean, taking pretty much everything we know about the Joker, and I mean, a lot of comic book fans have kind of seen this version of the Joker, but this has never been really done on the main screen. I mean, mainly they've, you have you have Heath Ledger's version, which was the idea of him kind of like a Jaws or Michael Myers. We don't know where he comes from. He just exists. And then you have Jack Nicholson, where he's kind of like a thug who's pushed to the point of no return. And then he goes crazy. Whereas here we're starting with somebody who is kind of off the edge. And I thought it was going to be really hard to make him the protagonist. Because it's like, usually he's an antagonist. Like, he's kind of like Jack Sparrow. They've tried to make him the lead. It doesn't work. But they were able to do it this time. With Joker, it was just amazing by making him this strung out character, and seeing how him going through this and being pushed and pushed and pushed till he's forced to transform, and he becomes a symbol for what we're seeing in society today. I mean, you look at what's going on, the riots and stuff. It's almost like that film was an omen to what is to happen. Not to get off topic here a little bit, but if you look at 2019, we saw a film like Parasite, which is all about how the poor has been treated. We had Ready or Not, where a girl in her wedding dress is being forced to fight off her rich family, who she just married into, who want her dead. And then you got Joker, the down and the out guy. He has one of the great lines in it. He says, "Did people ever think what it would be like to be me?" I thought that was such a what a great line to give this character, pretty much saying what he is. You know, he says, you see me, if you saw me on the street, you'd walk right over me. You know, you passed me by the street every day, you don't say anything to me. And then here he is, he's putting his, he's getting his, he finds out that everything about him is a lie. And then he gets to the point where he's going to create his own world. Now let's talk about the performance. I thought Joaquin did an amazing job, especially finding that laugh. Finding a laugh that comes from laughter, not from whether you're sad or happy or anything like that. It's uncontrollable. It's a problem. And looking at that and then putting that into the script so that it reveals itself. It's that great scene. He gets beat up and everything, and then we cut to the laugh. And he just holds, the camera just holds on him. And he laughs a little more. And then it becomes more uncomfortable as you realize it's a problem. I thought that was just genius. What a great idea. And what an idea of something we haven't seen with the Joker. And making him this, his costume come from his act as a clown. It's great. I thought everything he did was amazing. He deserves that Oscar. And anybody that says he doesn't understand film. Because he truly delved deep into that. He lost weight for that. I mean, Todd Phillips says, he called him and said, we could, lose the weight here and everything. No, he just ate an apple every day and slowly lost the weight. And it made him this, wily, crazy person. I mean, Todd Phillips has that great line. He told him, he said, Arthur has music in him. And then we see that great scene when he's in the bathroom. And, he's not scared, he's not there, and they were supposed to throw the gun away. And then they realized, he just started to do this dance. And we saw the beginnings of what the Joker was going to become. So amazing. Now let's talk about the box office. Because I did not expect this movie to make money. Not the kind of money that it ended up making. It made $1 billion at the box office. We have never seen an R-rated film make $1 billion. And this film did that. Not only did it bring in general audiences, but I remember going on the opening night and seeing people stay after it was over and being lost in thought. This film made people think. And that's something that's missing in film today. This film made people think about life, which is what a great film can do. And this film, everybody went and saw it. And it made money. And it showed that the general audience doesn't have to be dumbed down. You can make money with an art house picture, which in some ways it's a super... They're taking the character of the Joker And that lures them into that. But it's really an art house film. This is Taxi Driver. This is French Connection. This is not what they're trained to see. And people were listening. It was so powerful. I was so happy when I saw that. I was like, wow. And then the box office kept going up. And I was like, wow, this movie made money. An R-rated movie that's dark as can be. There's not a lot of light in this movie. It is dark. And it made money. The score. I can't pronounce the person who did the score. I think it's Danish or something. But what an amazing score. That just set the tone of this movie. I mean, I think this movie is going to be talked about for years. I can talk to just about anyone who saw it and they liked it. Some people don't like it, but most people I talked to liked it. I remember going on Paige Van Zandt, who's an MMA fighter for the UFC. And she talked, when they asked her what her favorite movie was of the year of 2019, they said Joker. They thought Joker. This reached everyone. It shows how powerful a film can be. And I think the appeal is only going to grow. And like I said, if I could top it all off, Joker is this generation's Hamlet. It amazes me. I'm so amazed that it got through. And the cast, the supporting cast, Robert De Niro. If anyone's seen King of Comedy, you know Pupkin. And there he is. But he was so great. Oh man, just a great cast. A lot of character actors, like Bill Camp is in there. Great work. Such a great film. Todd Phillips should be so proud. He has shown himself to be an auteur. A real film director who knows what he's doing. I can't wait to see what the next thing he does. Some people didn't like this film. I know the red letter media people didn't like it. But, they're hard to get. But man, just what a triumph for film. To get that film made. What a war that had to have been. Imagine how many executives he had to go through. We're probably like, maybe we should lighten it up. Maybe we shouldn't be this dark. Maybe it shouldn't be this. Maybe we should put Batman in it and this and that. And we're like, no. He fought them tooth and nail. And that's what we got. So proud. So proud. And I heard they may do a sequel. And I hope they do a sequel. They have a really good idea. Like they did with this one. And I think you can with this. Not to get into spoilers here, but when we get to the end here, once again, I am saying spoilers. So if you don't want to hear this, turn ahead. Because I don't want to give this movie away if you haven't seen it. Go see it if you haven't seen it. We see him in the insane asylum. He's in Arkham now. And he's looking across and she says, and the person says, "What's so funny?" And he says, "I'm just thinking of a joke." What a joke. Which goes back to the Killing Joke. And one of the things we find out is he may not necessarily have done any of this. This could be all in his head. He could have heard this from somebody. I heard Todd Phillips talk about that. He could have heard this from somebody and made this story. Maybe the sequel, they could go into who the real one is, if they wanted to. So many ways you can go in this film that is just different. They could be twins. They could do so many different things. But I love that. It's just, it harkens right back to the Killing Joke. The end of it. Oh, it's a joke, and Batman laughs. And here it is. And some people say, well, there was that, the blood on the, I believe is meant to be symbolic. I don't think he killed anyone there. I think he's actually just, he walked through the blood, and he has come out clean to be who he is. What a great film. Just so many layers, so much stuff to talk about. I could probably talk hours about this film, but then I would probably lose you in some ways. But all in all, I just want to say, I think Joker, to me, was probably the best film of 2019. I thought it was my favorite film. I just thought it hit on all cylinders. I was very happy to see this film do well and be now kind of recognized as a classic, and I think it's only going to age better. I think it's going to age very well. So that's my discussion on the 2019 film Joker by Todd Phillips. Wrestling. We're going to talk about wrestling. Professional wrestling. And I want to start with, on my first episode, WWE, or WWF at the time, Stone Cold Steve Austin from Victoria, Texas. And we're going to use 1997 to 1998. And we're specifically going to talk about SummerSlam 1997 to WrestleMania 14. To me, this is the growth of Austin. This is where he became a superstar in this period of time. Now, as most of you may know, some of you aren't going to know, but most wrestling fans will know, Stone Cold Steve Austin was injured by Owen Hart, and he won the Intercontinental title, which he ended up having to forfeit because he couldn't defend it. And doctor after doctor told him he couldn't wrestle again. So that left him and the company in a bind. Luckily, he found a doctor who was able to clear him. But in the meantime, he was coming out and just talking on Raw. And this hit a fever pitch at Ground Zero, which was September 7th, 1997, when he came out and forfeited the tag team titles to Sergeant Slaughter. And that this night he came out, you could already feel him becoming a star. This Dude Love had come out before him. That was his tag team partner. And then Austin came out. And he throws the belt down. And he pretty much became Stone Cold Steve Austin that we know today. And he stuns Jim Ross. And the place goes crazy. A little bit later on in the night, he costs Owen Hart and Davey Boy Smith the tag titles. And they end up losing it to the Headbangers in this tag team tournament. The next night on Raw, he interrupts Sergeant Slaughter. And man, when that glass hits, this was the first time the audience ever really reacted to the glass breaking. You would hear the glass break and then they would... But this time, the glass broke and everybody just was on their feet. And Jim Ross on the commentary says, "Good God Almighty, here he comes." And he comes down there with his, black shorts and, his t-shirt and everything. And he's just, he's ready to, in his words, he's ready to whoop somebody's ass. And so he comes down there and he pretty much tells Sergeant Slaughter, who was the commissioner at the time, "I ain't going to do things your way. I'm going to do things my way." And he proceeds to stun him. And then he goes after McMahon. And we get the first tease of Austin and McMahon a little bit. Flash forward to next Monday. He gets a letter saying, and he's reading the letter, and he ends up stunning Jerry the King Lawler. So he stunned JR. He stunned Sergeant Slaughter. Now he's stunned Jerry the King Lawler. There's only one man left. His name is Vince McMahon. And this hits a fever pitch in Madison Square Garden at September 22nd, 1997. And he comes up and he interrupts Owen Hart. And he's like, and Vince comes out. And this is the first time we kind of like see him as the owner. And he's like, Steve, you gotta listen to reason. You gotta work within the system. And Austin even makes a little Cool Hand Luke reference. He says, all right, I feel like Cool Hand Luke here, but I'll work within your stupid little system. And in this promo, he starts talking. He starts saying, like, he's going, you're not the one at the house. You know, he said, pretty soon, I'll be, with the way they're paying me, pretty soon I'll be on welfare. Although he said that to Sergeant Slaughter, not McMahon. But he's getting frustrated. And finally, he comes to McMahon, he says, I appreciate the fact that you and the World Wrestling Federation care. And I also appreciate the fact, and he pauses, hell, you can kiss my ass. And he stuns him. Right there, the first time anybody has ever laid a hand on like Vince in like a professional wrestling manner. Now, earlier in the year, Bret Hart had pushed him down. And that was a big moment. But this was like, finally he got him. And this was kind of the first time we kind of saw the blending of the announcer Vince and the owner Vince, which was a prelude to what was about to come. Now, October Raws came around in 97, and, you know, he was still doing stuff. Not much was really happening until they finally say, look, you know what? If you want to sign a contract saying that we won't be responsible if you get hurt, then you can compete. And he has this promo with Vince, which ends up leading to Owen Hart at the 1997 Survivor Series. And here, Austin finally gets his revenge on Owen Hart, which was great. Because now we're off to the races, because Austin is like, you'd have to be blind not to see that this guy was the man. So then December comes around, and this is the first time Rock is really interacting with Stone Cold. He steals Austin's Intercontinental title. Which brings us to that pay-per-view in December, which is 12/7/97, D-Generation X. December 7th, 1997. And he's facing The Rock, and the entire nation is there. Little do they know that Austin is going to come out there in his pickup truck. He comes out in a black, the glass hits, and he comes to the ring in a black pickup truck. It's the coolest thing ever, and proceeds to use the truck as a weapon to get all the other Nation of Domination guys out of the way. Which ends up, he finally defeats Rock, 1, 2, 3, stunner. The beginning of a feud for years to come. Then the next night on Raw, this is the beginning of the Vince McMahon we know, Mr. McMahon and Austin. And McMahon says that he is demanding that Stone Cold Steve Austin come to the ring and face The Rock. Now, Austin does what he wants when he wants. And this time he comes out, throws the belt in the ring, and he challenges Vince. And Vince actually says to him, well, furthermore, Mr. Austin, I'm your boss. And Steve Austin says, that don't impress me a damn bit. And he's crashing. He's right in his face. And we see the glimpse of them doing it. And then a little bit later on, at the end of the night, Austin comes out and he says, he's not going to fight Rock because he's got bigger fish to fry. So he says he's going to forfeit the title to Rock. I'm so excited. He's holding the belt. He is so happy. And then he gets stunned. And then Austin pushes him off the thing. And we are seeing the very beginning of the feud that will carry us into the Attitude Era. Right now, what we're in is really the prelude to the Attitude Era, which is where Austin McMahon just runs amok. Austin McMahon is the Attitude Era. And we're seeing glimpses of it every single week. Now this whole thing leads up to January's Royal Rumble, where at last year's Royal Rumble, Austin won, and he did not get to win, he did not even get to compete for the championship, for the World Championship. So this time, Austin is in this ring, and then this is so awesome. The glass breaks, and you don't see him anywhere, and he comes from the crowd. He through the crowd, and he's just throwing people over the ropes and everything. It's one of the coolest. Well, the Royal Rumble's boring up until Austin comes out, but when Austin comes out, holy wow, you can see the audience just come alive. And here he is. Here's Stone Cold, and once again we're with Rock, and he throws him over. Rock, Rock didn't go over. He comes back in. Austin stuns him, picks him up, and throws him over the top rope. It's one of the coolest moments ever, which is going to lead to pretty much the star-making moment for Austin. Mike Tyson was at the Royal Rumble the night before. Well, on Raw, Vince McMahon is there, and he is going to announce what Mike Tyson is going to do at WrestleMania 14. And he's in this, he's in the ring, and he's getting ready, and you hear the glass break, and here he comes down, and he's like, I've been watching you in the back, shaking hands with all the other WWF superstars, and it's making me so sick, I've been in the back throwing up. And then he flips Mike Tyson off in the face, and we get the shoving match heard around the world, because here is the top guy in wrestling meeting the guy who's been banned from boxing for biting Evander Holyfield's ear. You got the two baddest men, and the wrestling guy is not backing down, and he gets in his face. It's so great. And they have a pull apart, and McMahon's there, and he's saying, "You ruined it." Once again, another glimpse into the McMahon character. It's so awesome. If you have the WWE Network, if you have YouTube, I suggest you watch that entire segment, because it encapsulates everything that is Stone Cold Steve Austin. And Mike Tyson was the hottest commodity in the world. So you had the guy that nobody wanted to touch. He's so dangerous, and you got the most dangerous wrestler. And they're meeting eye to eye. And it's just great. And this sold WrestleMania 14. Because little did we know, no one knew that Mike Tyson was going to be the enforcer, the special guest referee enforcer on the outside in case the referee couldn't get it done. But people didn't know that, so some people were thinking, are we going to get Austin and Mike Tyson? It was such a great tease. And then, not that week, but the next week after that, on February 2nd, 1998, the DX is out there, and they're doing their whole political speech, and they're like, let them fight. Let them fight. And they got balloons, and they're dressed up like Uncle Sam. It's the greatest thing ever. And the glass breaks. You're going to hear a lot of snapping, because once that glass breaks, they take the Uncle Sam outfits off, and it's the business. And Austin gets right in their face. The top guy, and Shawn Michaels, who doesn't back down from anybody. And he's just standing there, they're nose to nose right at each other. And it's so great. And at this time, backstage, Shawn Michaels didn't like that he's being kind of passed over for Austin. And you can see him trying to kind of embarrass him in some ways by taking off his shirt in front of him and stuff. And I'm like, no, I couldn't do that. He's such a great tease. And weeks go by, and we finally find out that Tyson is now a member of DX. So great. So it's Austin against the world. McMahon doesn't want him to win the title. DX doesn't want him to win the title. He's going against the world. It's great storyline. And then on March 9th, 1998, this is the Raw where Austin holds the show hostage until Vince McMahon comes out to the ring. It's so great. He finally comes out and he challenges Vince to punch him. He says, "I'll give you a free shot." And he won't do anything. And he even rips his lapel of his suit completely off, like where the pocket square is. He just rips it right off. It's so great. And he tells him to get out of the ring. And you are seeing, like, basically, this is... the fans want to see Austin just beat the crap out of Vince because they could not stand him. It's so great. And it's building up. And then we get to... well, let's go back a little bit. If we go back to No Way Out, the pay-per-view right before Mania 14, we have DX versus Stone Cold Steve Austin, Chainsaw Charlie, Cactus Jack, and Owen Hart. And they're going to face DX. And it's supposed to be Shawn Michaels, but Shawn Michaels is hurt. So they send out Savio Vega, which is lame, if you ask me. But the significance of this show is this is the first time anybody's ever laid a hand on China on the show. And when Austin stuns China, you can hear the place explode. It is one of the most powerful pops you'll ever hear. No Way Out 1998. So great. The match is okay, but it didn't need to be great. It just needed to show that Austin was going in guns blazing. Which brings us to Mania 14. Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Shawn Michaels with Iron Mike Tyson as the special guest enforcer. Iron Mike Tyson, the baddest man on the planet, they called him. And he really was the baddest man on the planet. Nobody could control this guy. And here we are. It's Austin and Michaels. Now, Michaels is hurt at the time. But what was really selling the show was Austin and Tyson. That's what everybody wanted to see. When are these two guys going to come head to head? And they have this, it's not a bad match, but this ushers in the crowning of the champion of the Attitude Era. As the ref goes down, Shawn goes up to the top rope. He jumps off, he hits an elbow drop. Bam! He stands up. He gives them the cue. He's going to do the sweet chin music. That's it. Nobody gets up from that. And he's put Austin down many times before. So here it is. Here's the tease. He comes in. Boom. Austin ducks it. He throws another super kick. Austin catches the boot, swings him around, stuns him. 1, 2, 3. The only thing is, Mike Tyson is the one who counts the 1, 2, 3. He double crosses DX. So after all that, Austin and Tyson are aligned. And he's holding up the Austin 316 shirt. And Michaels is finally regains his composure. And he gets up and he's looking, he's throwing the shirt down. He says, "You're supposed to be with me. You're supposed to be with me." And he throws the shirt. And Tyson knocks out Shawn Michaels. It's so great. It's the best ushering in of a new era in professional wrestling. This pretty much sent them off to the races because the next night on Raw, Austin is the man. He's not the second. He is the man. He is the champion. He is the guy to lead them forward in 1998 and onward. And it's such a great moment. And if we go back to some of these great moments that happened, it all starts with SummerSlam 97. Getting hurt allowed him to talk, and people felt sympathy for him, so that when he came out and he hit those stunners, and that's all he could do at that time, people were erupting. And then he started hitting the authority figures, and that got even bigger. And then we had the Montreal screw job, which I didn't talk about because it's been talked about ad nauseum, but essentially, for real, Vince McMahon screwed Bret Hart. He rung the bell. The match was supposed to go another 5-10 minutes, and because they put him, he was in a precarious position, McMahon rings the bell. All because, Bret Hart didn't want to drop the title. That's a whole nother story for another day. But anyways, this makes Vince McMahon the most hated man in the world of professional wrestling. Everybody hates him. And Austin is the perfect guy to get in his face and give the fans what they want. Justice. Because this guy, this promoter, nobody likes. And we want to see him get beat up. And so they continue to tease it. We don't really see it. We saw it, the tease at, in September on the 22nd in Madison Square Garden. We heard the pop. But they didn't really portray it as a good guy beating up a bad guy yet. We start to see that happen in December, and then in January, and in March when he holds the thing hostage. They're still playing that up. But the next night on Raw after WrestleMania 14, Vince McMahon is a heel. He is a bad guy. In professional wrestling, we call them heels. He's a heel. He's the bad guy. And Austin is the super babyface. And we got the two forces because Michaels is gone. So now it's Austin McMahon. And this is the rivalry that's saved the WWF from going under from WCW, in my opinion, because it catapulted them. There was nothing like it. There was nothing like that on television. And then their underguard kept getting better and better. So it was McMahon and Austin, but everything underneath was looking better. So they stacked and stacked and stacked. It was on this huge house of greatness. That's why I look at 97 to 98, Stone Cold Steve Austin, as probably the most important time in professional wrestling. 97, that fall of 97, built him to be a superstar. And the Mike Tyson feud, well, it's kind of a feud, confrontation, sent him over the top, and Mania 14 solidified it. I'd like to thank you for your time, and that is Austin in 1997. Okay, this is the part of the show where I talk about positive affirmations, and I'm going to be doing this in ASMR, which stands for Autonomous Sensory Meridian Response. You are successful in whatever you do. You focus on what is truly essential for you. You wake up and see new opportunities for you. You feel wonderful and alive. I want to say thank you for listening to this program, and I hope to see you next week on the DMF. I am your host, Justin Yance. Thank you.